Hello, people of the internet. I am D.I. Gremlin, and welcome to week 6 of season 4 of the Pokédex Holders League. I am D.I. Gremlin, proud coach of the Southend Stoutlands, and this week we are taking on Coach Rev of the Hamilton Honchkrows. Actually have time for Teambuilder this week, which is absolutely fantastic, because these are good, I hope, anyway. And yeah, it's another absolute must-win this week. I am 3-2. So right now the situation is I'm 3-2. Lee is ahead of me on differential at 3-2, and then Sil and Yoshi are ahead of us further still. But Rev is one place behind me, which isn't good. But he hasn't played his week whatever it was match yet against James. But I don't know what's going on there. They're probably having some scheduling issues. But all I know is that I'm taking on Rev tomorrow, and I need to be ready, and I have to win, because if he beats me, then my best case scenario is 4-3. His best case scenario is 5-2. I might not qualify for playoffs. So we've got to win this. Absolutely have to win this. If we win this, we should be locked for playoffs. I think. Not 100% certain, but we should be locked for playoffs if we win this. So this is huge. But he's been playing really well this season. Last season he didn't win at all. This season he's obviously 2-2. And he's got a good team. He's got a very scary team. It's just there's just two Pokemon in particular that it's so difficult to prepare for both of them. But I tried my best, and I do think I have a pretty good matchup. But we shall see. He has the Mega Houndoom, which is just a special nuke. It's got base 115 speed. If he gets a nasty plot up, it just rips a hole through anything. I actually see my matchup against Houndoom isn't the worst. I actually have some responses to it, but it's still a threat. Like, if those Pokemon get weakened beyond a certain point, then I'll just lose to it, just straight up. But nah, it's fine. I've got plans. He's got the Excadrill, which is another just absolute utter nuke. It's a good rocker, it's a good spinner, but more to the point, like, Life Orb Excadrill just does so much damage. But then, because my team is fast, he could be Scarf Drill, and Scarf Drill also does so much damage, so we'll have to be careful for that. But those two Pokemon, it's like, do I bring another response for Houndoom and leave myself more exposed to Excadrill, or do I bring another Excadrill response and leave myself more exposed to Houndoom? And I think I've made the right call there, I hope. It's got the Blissey, which is just a fat blob. It's very, very difficult to break through, but I don't expect it. I don't think he's brought it yet this season, and I mean, if you're going to be scared of anything on my team, it's Infernape, so I don't see why he would bring the Blissey, but I have actually prepared for it a lot, because if something goes wrong with my Infernape, I will definitely need my other mons. He's got the Medicham, Psychic Fighting type. Last week I played Mega Medicham, and I had absolutely no switchings to it. That thing just completely was going to rip me apart. Regular Medicham isn't quite so bad. Like, it can run the Life Orb to get the power boost, or the Choice Scarf to get the speed boost. But then if it runs the Life Orb and is powerful enough, or the Choice Band, I guess, then, like, basically everything on my team outspeeds it and can kill it. And if he runs the Choice Scarf to get the speed and to outspeed my threats, then I can switch into it pretty easily, because it doesn't hit anywhere near as hard as Mega Medicham. But still a pretty big threat, and that could definitely come. He's got the Roserade. Roserade's a really cool mon. Grass Poison, it gets spikes, it gets toxic spikes, it's got good Spadef, it has reliable recovery, it gets Leech Seed, Sludge Bomb, Giga Drain, as it stabs, they hit pretty hard. Because of Technician, it actually gets basically like Flamethrower and Thunderbolt and Ice Beam because of hidden powers, which is really cool. And it makes it quite a tricky mon to deal with. But I have probably the best response in the game to it. So, I don't know. I don't know how scared he's going to be of certain things or if he's going to look at the bigger picture. We'll have to find out. He's got the Zorork, which is pretty cool. It doesn't hit that hard. It's pretty fast. But its obviously main gimmick is illusion. It can disguise itself as another Pokemon. And the thing is, I have really good ways to deal with Zorork. But if he disguises it properly, then it will be a problem, and I will have to try and scout for it, and I'll have to pay very, very close attention to try and figure out what it is disguised as. And I think he's going to disguise it as a Araquanid, because basically my Araquanid switching is Jellicent, and then you could just go for the Dark move thing. I mean, I'm not going to switch my Florges in on an Araquanid, am I? So, which is, my main kind of way of dealing with that thing. It's got the Cinccino, which is another base 115 mon, very, very fast. With Choice Band and Skill Link, this thing hits like super hard. It hits really hard with Tail Slap. And what's its other moves? Bullet Seed and Rock Blast, and then the U-turn hurts as well. That's a scary mon, I'm not gonna lie. And I didn't actually prep that hard for it, thinking about it. But that's fine. It could definitely come, but I got plans. It's fine. He's got the Gramble, which he hasn't brought at all this season. But Gramble is actually the Pokemon that I'm most worried about out of all of his Pokemon. And maybe it's just because of the way I designed the team that I did, but I don't have a way of just breaking through Gramble and doing 100% to it. I can do a lot of damage to it, and it doesn't do that much damage to me, but it's basically going to be able to take down a Pokemon in the process, which isn't friendly. But, I took a bit of a risk. I thought, he hasn't brought it at all this season. Will he bring it against me? I think there's a chance, but I think it's more than likely he doesn't, but I am very worried about it. And the same goes for Cofagrigus. He hasn't brought it at all this season, but, I have an Infernape, an intimidating Fairy type, and a really physically bulky Ghost type. Those are Infernape responses, and he could go for them, or he could try and be a bit more offensive in his way of dealing with Infernape. But I don't know if he's gonna do that or not. Yeah, Cofagrigus is a bulky pain in the arse. But I'm not too scared of Cofagrigus. I'm a bit more scared of Gramble because of Intimidate. Emolga is a fast electric type, which it could come. I don't really know what it does. I don't really care about it. And Araquanid. Araquanid hits like an absolute truck. Fortunately, I have an extremely good switch into it. But like I was saying, if he plays clever Zorork games with this Pokemon, it's going to be scary. But that's his team. My team is... I don't actually have the picture, but whatever. My team is right here. And as you can see, we are bringing a very, very interesting Infernape set right off the gate. Basically, the plan is, every single match he's had, he has let Excadrill, and he has set up his Stealth Rocks. It's his main rocker. You probably do want rocks against me. But Infernape can outspeed and Oko Excadrill. On the off chance that he's Scarfed, I do have the Focus Sash to live the hit, and I can still close combat him and kill him. Also, you can see I am Swords Dance. A +2 Mark Punch, I believe, does knock out Excadrill, I think. So if he doesn't bring, the Gramble and the Cofagrigus, his kind of defensive checks to this Infernape, I'll just Swords Dance, and I will literally just win turn 1. But no, the plan is to close combat Excadrill, get rid of it turn 1, then weaken a few of the things that can stop this Infernape, use that Focus Sash to get up a Swords Dance, and Mark Punch Oko's the vast majority of his team. And the things that I outspeed, Fire Punch cleans him anyway. He has a few things, Cofagrigus, Gramble, I think Medicham takes 90%, Araquanid takes 80-something% from a fire punch. So a couple of things to worry about. But his main things, like Cinccino dies to Mark Punch, Houndoom dies to Mark Punch, Excadrill dies to Mark Punch. Like, this thing has a really, really good matchup, and I hope this works, because I've been wanting to run Sword Dance Infernape, or some kind of setup Infernape, all season, and I think this is the match to do it. Next up, we have my boy, the G, Radioactive. I love the muck. I love the muck. It's so freaking good. I didn't run it last week. I thought about it. Sil told me after it was like, dude, I thought Assault Vest muck just kind of stopped me, but I was more worried about Metacham, if I'm being completely honest. To run Assault Vest. But yeah, so I could have run Assault Vest this week. As you can see, I am almost max HP, max per def. I have just enough speed to outspeed a Blissey. But I'm Poison Jab, Taunt, Knockoff, and Toxic. I don't know why I read that in the wrong order. I just said Taunt first, because I have the Taunt for the Blissey and for the Cofagrigus, because you taunt those things, you shut them down. You taunt them and Toxic them, and they just die. They just completely, 100% die. So this is my check to those things. Poison Jab's going to do a lot to a lot of things, but the special bulk on this Mon is just so freaking good. It is a brilliant Houndoom switch-in. It is a brilliant Roserade switch-in. It's a brilliant switch into other things that I can't remember off the top of my head. This is my absolute special wall. And I didn't want to run Assault Vest because I thought Taunt and Toxic were too important, even though I don't really expect things like Blissey to come. If they do come, I will need the Taunt and Toxic. And of course, we got our Figgy Berry there for just Figgy Berry Gluttony is just so good. He's going to really struggle to take this Mon down. And I really hope it can put in work, because I traded it for a reason. And then another Mon, which just has an unbelievably good matchup this week, is my boy Manny, coming back from the Season 3 squad, back on the team now, and oh my god, I've missed Mamoswine. Mamoswine is so freaking good in the format. I mean, just think about his team, and try and think of a Mamoswine response. Because I couldn't. I couldn't think of one. I'm Choice Scarfed because he does have some things which are going to outspeed me. Like, I speed tie with Metacham. Wasn't about that life. Excadrill outspeeds me and OHKOs me. Houndoom outspeeds me and OHKOs me. But I don't need to worry about that, because I'm Choice Scarfed and Earthquake blows them back. Oh, this Mon is so good. Like, I have Stone Edge and Ice School Crash and stuff. I'm only clicking Earthquake on this thing. Oh, excuse me. I have the Stealth Rocks. I don't anticipate clicking it ever, but, well, there are certain situations where the Stealth Rocks are going to be important to whittle things down like Araquanid. But yeah, I don't really foresee me going for them. Mamoswine is going to be a late game cleaner, basically. If I can get his team into the position where he doesn't have enough bulk left and he doesn't have Scarfers, I just come in, I just click Earthquake a few times and I win. Because Manny is a goddamn beast. And I'm running the kind of weird Scarf thing that I sometimes run. I could have gone max speed to speed tie with a Scarfed Metacham, but that just wasn't worth it to me. Like, a 50% chance of it being worth it to not run Adamant and not have a lot more HP investment, that wasn't worth it. Adamant was important in a couple of roles. And this Manny is just going to destroy his soul, and it's a fantastic Pokemon. And up next, we have Pack Leader, the Mega Manectric. If you understand this reference, that's cool. I believe this is the exact same set that I brought last week, which is really weird that I'm doing that. Yeah, pretty standard stuff here. Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, Flamethrower, Toxic. Besides Excadrill, which if the plan goes well, I can knock it out turn 1, and I have a lot of things for Excadrill. If that plan goes well, he obviously doesn't have a ground type anymore. I can Volt Switch all over him. He really doesn't have a good way of stopping this Manectric, and outspeeds his entire goddamn team. And the only things that can stop it are like Blissey and Cofagrigus, and so I have Toxic for them. And obviously I have Flamethrower for Excadrill should it still be alive. So yeah, this is a really cool Manectric set, and thanks to its beautiful speed, we can run the Modest. Oh, like this week we are bringing the power. We are bringing the true power of this team. Who needs Beedrill? So at this point in time, I spent like 2 seconds building these 4 mons. Well, I didn't. I still spent like an hour on those 4. But I was like, wow, I'm going really, really quickly. And then I looked at my team, and I was like, so I have this cool plan for Excadrill and all, but my entire team kind of gets OHKO'd by Excadrill. If that doesn't work, I'm gonna need a backup. And I was just thinking to myself, like, do I try and prep more for Houndoom, or do I try and prep more for Excadrill? And first of all, I needed this General Melchett set. I needed this set. We have Recover, Toxic, Shadow Ball, and Scald. We have the Cobra Berry, just in case it comes down to, like, Houndoom going for a Dark Pulse on me. I got the Cobra Berry, I can take 1 hit, I can Scald him. Because as you can see at the end here, I went with 2 Excadrill responses, rather than having 2 Houndoom responses, because of how kind of weak I was at the time to Excadrill. But yeah, this General Melchett is here. He's playing games. He's out here playing games. He takes hits from Excadrill pretty damn easily. He is the best switch-in the game to Araquanid. He is a very good switch-in to regular Medicham. I'm well aware it gets Thunder Punch. But the thing is I can scout for him being Life Orb. Like, he's not going to Thunder Punch right out on the gate on something, is he? Like, if I'm in there with Manny, he can't Thunder Punch my Manny. He can't Thunder Punch my Pack Leader. He can't Thunder Punch anything except this. He has to make a very hard read to go for the Thunder Punch. And he has to be Life Orb or Banded for it to do enough damage to this thing. And if he does have that ability to change his moves with Life Orb, then I will know he's going for a Thunder Punch, and then I could switch out into, say, my Manectric, get a Lightning Rod boost, and literally just win. So yeah, I'm not too scared of Medicham because of this, and also because of good old Triple Velvet over there. Toxic, again, Blissey Cofagrigus. I thought it was more worth going for the Shadow Ball than the Hex. I can't remember why exactly. I think just for the Medicham, if I don't get a Toxic off on it, Shadow Ball's going to hit harder. This is also like my Gramble response. I believe it does get Thunder Punch, but if I Scald Burn it, we're pretty good. I didn't run a one Will-O-Wisp because then Cofagrigus and stuff could be a problem. But yeah, this is this General Melchett set. Very, very, very important Pokemon for me this week. And if I lose it too early, I could be in a bit of trouble. But I think I can still win the match with my offense without this, but it's going to be a lot trickier. And then last but not least, because that's a word, or a saying, or whatever. We got Triple Velvet, the Shaman. I was tossing and turning between Shaman and Florges. I was like, I could go Florges and make myself much better against Houndoom, but then I felt so Excadrill weak. I was like, I die to Ironhead, Pack Leader dies to Earthquake, Manny dies to Ironhead, Radioactive dies to Earthquake, Caesar dies to Earthquake. If something goes wrong and he's Choice Scarfed Excadrill, he literally ogres my entire team, and I just couldn't face that because, like, the Houndoom doesn't have the potential to be Scarfed, so Manny will definitely outspeed it, Pack Leader will definitely outspeed it, Caesar still has the Mark Punch. Like, I had the Cobra Berry. I felt a bit safer regarding Houndoom, and this thing is also a Gramble response. In fact, because of how important General Melchett is, this thing is going to be more of a Gramble response, I think. Pretty similar set to... Actually, it's not a similar set. I was Spadef against Yoshi. But in terms of moves, I got Giga Drain, Leech Seed Synthesis, and the Healing Wish. I didn't really need much coverage on this thing. Most of the time, I'm going to switch in, and then I'll just pivot out into something offensive and make a cheeky double, or I'll just Leech Seed it and then pivot out. And worst comes to worst, we got the Healing Wish. I don't know, I didn't really need another move. But yeah, I feel good about the matchup. I feel scared of Excadrill and Houndoom, but I think I built the team with the responses to it. I just really need to win this match, but I think I'm gonna do it. I should be playing him tomorrow, so hopefully the battle will be up very soon after this. I don't know. But yes, that is all. I'll see you in the battle.